This is my 1980 Kawasaki KZ750 LTD H. And I bought it to make it into a cafe racer. I initially bought this stock. I'll insert a picture. It looked super good. Paint really nice, chrome super shiny, ran really well. But after having it for about a month and a half, I started getting electrical problems, which was annoying considering I was waiting to work on it in the winter. At first, the headlight would not turn on, so I just wouldn't ride at night. My horn stopped working. I rode to my aunt's house, and I turned the key to off, took it out. The blinkers were still on, the lights on the cluster were still on, so I had to unplug the battery. After that, every time I parked it, I had to pop the seat, take off the negative terminal of the battery. When I turned the blinkers on, they wouldn't flash. And the very last thing is, when I went to use the electric start to turn on the bike, it shut completely off. So I had to unplug the battery, plug it back in, make sure the electrical's on, try starting again, the whole bike shut off. And it got to a point where there wasn't even enough juice in the battery to use the electric start. I had to roll it and pop the clutch. That lasted about 2 weeks. Then the electric start started working, but every time I tried turning it on at first, the whole bike shut off, unplug the battery, plug it back in. So main concern was the electrical, did that. Then it was onto the aesthetics to make it a cafe racer that it hasn't become yet. This is my first motor vehicle. I got this even before a car in June of 2017. Bought it for about $1,550, and I feel like I could have got it less if I knew more of what I was looking at, especially with the electrical. My intentions are to make this into a cafe racer. I've done a few things already, and I really don't have much more to go. What I'm doing next is cutting the frame right about here, and I have a rear hoop with a little upsweep I'm gonna get welded on. Then I'm gonna make a seat pan, get the seat brackets welded on, and I'll get that reupholstered. Another thing I noticed that was wrong, didn't realize until after I bought the bike, is one of these motor bolts, it's stripped, but the bolt is fine. So the threads in the motor are not how they should be. Besides the electrical, mechanically speaking, pretty good besides that, and I need to clean the carbs, have new gaskets, put new jets since I hacked off the muffler, and now I also put pod filters, so gotta rejet that. There's a few things I've already done to the bike. So I got new headlight brackets so I could lower the headlight, make it even with the tank. Lowered the gauges so that it's more streamlined as well. Dropped the forks about 2.5 inches. Didn't feel like cutting and tapping it, so that was the best idea. Got some LED blinkers. I had some trouble with those. I could talk about that a little later. Subi gang. Like I mentioned, I also put on these pod filters, K&N pod filters. The electrical, had to buy a new starter regulator, blinker solenoids. If you can see here, I rewired more modern fuses instead of having those glass fuses. So hopefully this is a little more reliable. So these stock blinkers used to stick out probably another 2.5 to 3 inches. I cut those down so they were more streamlined. But I'm going to be putting on matching LED ones. I also lowered the shocks. Might get new shocks later down the line. Cut the exhaust off. Now it is pretty loud. Still want new headers. Want to move these foot pegs back, take the rear foot pegs off. You can't see over here, but I also had to get a new IC igniter. I can insert pictures of how crappy that looked, and I wish I knew about it when I bought the bike. This ugly thing right here, that is the LED light transformer. I put in an LED light and now I could actually see at night, which is super cool. And obviously I'm gonna crop all that shit because that was a lot of talking. A lot of a lot of bullshit.